Hello and welcome to Spectrum News at 2. I am Beto O'Brien coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakuran. Let's take a look at the headlines. Federal government pays foreign firm $496 million for contract violation. Vice President Osibanjo, stakeholders to chat. We'll bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. Well, first on our news bulletin this afternoon is a report that the Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, has disclosed that the federal government has settled a long-standing $5.26 billion contractual dispute with a foreign investor group in the steel sector of $496 million. A statement by the Special Assistant Media and Publicity Relations Office of the AGF, Dr. Umar Gwandu, said the mediation should soon. He revealed that the source of the disputes were 5 contracts entered in the 1999 to 2007 administration of President Olusegun Obasanjo, which gave complete dominance over the Nigerian steel space to one company group, the Global Steel Group. According to him, in 2000, the Federal Ministry of Justice, which cited the termination costs in the form of damages. In another development, Nigeria may get reliefs on its $100.06 billion external debt service should Vice President Yemi Osibanjo push through reaping huge benefits from the DFC arrangement being sold to global community by Osibanjo's led delegation. As Professor Osibanjo tabled DFC swap deal in the United States at different fora and events, including a White House, in a statement by already receiving positive appraisals, even as the Vice President explained the potential for significant debt cancellation for African countries. Pushed DFC idea, which he first proposed at CGD. The Vice President also pushed the idea of opening the carbon market in Africa so that the climate trade verification institutions.
When we look at the issue of the climate crisis, Mr. Vice President, you have been an extraordinary leader on this in play in addressing this crisis.
But in addition to, as we pointed out, our shared commitment to democracy and the international rules-based system, we very strongly believe, and they come up very frequently now, from promoting peace and security to tackling global health issues, Reduction Act. And I think in particular it's historic, especially for those of us who are paying attention to all the issues on climate change, the climate change component, and we're all excited to queue up behind the US and see that we get many of these objectives.
Meanwhile, Vice President Yemi Osibanjo would lead stakeholders in agriculture to discuss ways to boost cocoa value chain at the 2020 Association of Nigeria, CAN, in collaboration with the Ondo State Government, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Ministry and Oni of Ife Outreach. The association, in a statement in Abuja, noted that the Ondo Martins Awo Fisayo would give the keynote address. The statement noted that there would be a launching of Yoruba version of Cocoa Gap Handbook and launching of the establishment of Cocoa Academy Center. Away from that, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has filed an 11-count charge of conspiracy, forgery, and stealing against the Speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly, Olakunle Oluomo, and 3 others. The court Abeokuta, Ogun State, accusing of assembly, amongst other allegations. The commission says it intends to call at least 10 witnesses to testify and tender documents in Lagos with the office of the commission, with officials of the State House of Assembly, especially the clerk and the accountant, for further questioning. In another development, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, has insisted that the daily supply forensic audit of PMS supply and the subsidy management. Recall that the Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service, Colonel Hamid Ali, said the NNPC could not justify the volume of petrol being consumed in Nigeria daily, alleging that the nation's oil company was supplying an excess of 38 million litres of PMS daily. But in a statement issued in Abuja by the group's general manager, the total volume of PMS imported into the country was 16.46 billion litres, which translates to an average supply of 68 million litres per day. Compliance with the existing governance framework that required participation of relevant government agencies in all PMS discharge operation service, NIMASA, amongst others. Meanwhile, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company average international market determined landing cost in the second quarter of this year, and it was $1,283 per metric ton, subsidy of 297 naira per litre, and an annual estimate of 6.5 trillion naira on the assumption of the. Away from that, there is no security threat to the conduct of the 2023 General of Police Summit UN COPs in the United States of America. It is based on the robust security threats analysis carried out using global best standards to ascertain the trend of expectations for Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs, U.S. Departments of State, as part of events rounding up his attendance at the UN summit. Victims of the petrol tanker explosion at the Matogun area of Ifo local government area in the state. It rendered on those who lost their properties was one of the reasons his administration decided to embark on the reconstruction of the Ijoko, Alagbole, and Lam administration. While suing for claims amongst the residents of the Matogun and its environs, the governor who thanked God that life of the people in the axis more comfortable. Back here on news from the home front, the fight to stop trafficking in persons, exploitation of persons must be given priority, and all hands must be on desk. Tina Ogwu in the interaction with Spectrum Television, speaking on the stress that NAPTIP Akwa Ibom remains committed in its desire to fight the evil head on.
The number of children they can cater for, the society as a whole, church leaders, mothers, fathers, the society as a whole should frown at people having children out of wedlock. Nobody cares for them. They just do what they want to. Nobody cares. Nobody asks them any question. See them a way to be exploited elsewhere. So people should learn to have the number of children they can cater for. The society should frown off having children out of wedlock.
And now to more news from the continental sense, where Kenya's Supreme Court has unanimously validated the dispute presidential elections. Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, Lady Justice Martha Koome, delivered the verdict by dismissing many of the petitions that alleged fraud in the technology used in the electoral process, while recognizing what it called a serious malice in governance of the Electoral Commission. However, the court concluded that the last-minute electoral rapture is insufficient to invalidate to the public portal, and no evidence of unexplained discrepancies between votes cast in the various elective positions across the country and those cast in the favor of Vice President William Ruto. The lawsuit had sought to overturn the results of the presidency over his fifth attempt, along with 6 other parties. On news from the foreign scene, one person has been reportedly killed and rescue crews are still out of the crash and dispatched helicopters and boats to scour the area. Local search and rescue officials were also on the scene, although no cause for the crash had been yet determined. Reports say the plane crashed while flying over the Pacific. Meanwhile, rescuers are trying to reach survivors of a climbing. We're part of a group of 12 individuals, including 2 guides, who have been climbing the Kulesevshaka Soparka in the northern eastern Kamchatka Peninsula. The rescue group is climbing to reach the survivors who were split between their camp at around 3,300 meters and somewhere on the volcano at the altitude of more than 4,100. Search and rescue operation depends on the weather, ash clouds on the slopes, melting glaciers, mud flows, and rock falls. Place, the one drawn up under the Gen Augusto Pinochetta's military rule. In a referendum, almost 62% worked with Congress and the civil society to come up with a new proposal that would fill the people with confidence and unite all. In the meantime, Liz Truss would be the new UK Prime Minister after defeating Rishi Sunak in the Tory leadership contest. Liz Truss, who has served as Boris Johnson's former secretary for the past year, won 57% of the votes of the Conservative Party members to become its leader. Rishi Sunak took 43%, speaking at the conference Times, grow the economy and unleash the UK's kingdom's potential. Truss will become UK Prime Minister after travelling to meet the Queen at the Balmoral in Scotland. Also to come on our news bulletin this afternoon, Nigeria, South Africa to miss 2022 CHAN. Do stay with us. You're still watching Spectrum News on Spectrum Television at this hour, and now to more news from our business scenes. In our business news, power generation has dipped by 642.4 megawatts when compared to Adiabo 330/132/33 kilovolt substation in Cross River State. Data obtained from the federal 110.5 megawatts, but this dropped to 3,804.3 megawatts, indicating a power generation decrease of 600 on Saturday at its Adiabo 330/Ndidimba, however, stated that engineers from the transmission company were working assiduously to the latest report by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC. Report also shows that out of this amount, only 370 billion naira has been collected by the NERC annual report, which shows that as much as 3 was out of every. In health, Zamfara government has inaugurated a 43 newly constructed private health services in the state. Reports say the health cares were constructed under the government program, providing for one functional PHC in each of the 147 political wards of Bungadu local government area, that the remaining PHCs were at the various stages of completion, represented by his deputy, Senator, at the grassroots, and directed the state's Primary Health Care Board, PHCB, to ensure full utilization of the facilities of benefits to all the rotavirus vaccines in routine immunization, to curb the infection amongst children. The executive curbing the menace of diarrhea, it was discovered that 70% of children under the age of 5 died as a result of the virus, which are described doses to an easy win in the women's 100 meters hurdle at the I-Staff Berlin meets, winning more than 1/10 over her closest challenger. Amuson clocked a time of 12.45, came third in 12.66 seconds. Meanwhile, fellow Commonwealth Games gold medalist S.A. Brume finished second in the women's long jump at the same leaping a distance of 6.92 meters on Friday. 26-year-old S.A. Brume's Memorial Van Damme in Brussels, Belgium. While still in 2 finals in Algeria, Ghana peeped arch-rivals Nigeria in penalties after a 2-2 aggregate draw following the first and second legs, while South African nations who will be at the 7th edition of the tournament reserved for home-based stars including Senegal, title holders Morocco, Cameroon and Cote d'Ivoire, although a stunning 2020 loss to Togo. On the entertainment scene, an award-winning Nigerian actress Osas Ighodaro, leading the nominations list of 15 headies is Wizkid, who led with 11 nominations, following him behind with 4 wins, while Pato Rankin won 2 awards. Other winners include Benson, who won the Next Rated Award, and Arya Star, who since this afternoon, Nigerian Austrian-based singer, rapper, songwriter, performer, actor, poet, and entrepreneur Chinedu Solomon, better known as Solo Spino, has released his most anticipated EP titled PVC. The Afrobeat Afro-8 later picked up his musical career professionally in 2015 when he released his first official single titled Colonna, which won him the Breakthrough Artist of the Year at the African Diaspora Merit Award, ADMA, in 2015, to reflect on how to make the country better and be a part of the change that is coming to Nigeria. And that's all NG. You have been watching Spectrum News at 2. I am Beta Brian, thanking you for watching. Do have a nice day.